Good morning, everyone. Clint McLaughlin here, Midwest Market Management. Got Riley Sykard on with me here today. It is Thursday, March 26th. We are going to get into some safrinha corn weather. On a program note, next week we will start firing up U.S. weather from a national yield perspective as well. And we'll put some thoughts together there for what we're thinking going into the growing season. So be back on here with that next week. In the meantime, Riley, what's happening down here is in South America in terms of both finishing up probably Argentina first crop growing season still has a fair amount of time left to go. And then obviously safrinha corn is becoming a bigger issue by the day.
Yep. Some small tweaks here this week. So there are enough changes to be looking at, but not any earth-shattering fresh news either. So first thing I want to do is always put into perspective how big of an area we're looking at. In terms of first crop, you're looking anywhere from Mato Grosso all the way south through central Argentina. Taking just Mato Grosso on a U.S. map, almost the whole Midwest, guys. Big area that we're looking at. So with that said, first small tweaks, 1 to 5 day. Not a whole lot of fresh stuff here. Can see in that Paraguay region some temperatures in the low to mid 90s for an average. One thing to note before I go anywhere else, safrinha crop is now at the point where you might as well consider it 100% in the ground, Clint.
Yeah, they're not going to put any more in.
Yeah, planting progress a week ago came out at 95%. So at this point, it's planting windows done. Now we're switching gears to dry season's coming, and they want all the rain that they can get before that dry season hits. So the lower the temperatures, the more rain in the forecast, the better.
And would you circle that area that we're most concerned about with your mouse here for a second?
Yep. So for safrinha regions, you're looking at Mato Grosso heavily, Goiás, and Mato Grosso do Sul. Those are your three big ones, as well as Paraná down here a little further south.
I see.
Those are your four regions that have over pushing 90% of your safrinha crop. So that's the regions you're looking at heavily. The north's in pretty good shape, especially they got stuff stuck in the ground a little bit earlier. So there's a lot of stuff getting to the point. I wouldn't definitely not pollinating or anywhere near that, but a lot of vegetative growth going on. Whereas as you look to the south, a lot of planting just finished up, and they haven't had much rain in these southern regions. So some heat coming in with it's definitely not a good thing. A lot of people starting to talk about some drought issues and safrinha crop issues to the south. So that's one of those tweaks that I mentioned that we got to watch.
Yeah, and one would think this like stand issues, you can't recover from that.
No, and the one thing to remember too is safrinha crop, they're not going for 200 bushel corn or 300 bushel corn like some guys are here in the US. They're growing 150 bushel safrinha crop would be a bin buster.
Okay. That's a
so
good
this is more of
perspective to keep into play.
Yeah, safrinha is a lot more of an acres game than it is a yield game. But last year we also found out they can have less acres because they got planted at a reasonable time, but the acres were down, but they caught enough rains through the dry season that the yield was still through the roof. So it is possible for them to have good yields, but it is tough.
Yeah.
Moving ahead, 6 to 10 day temperatures, hotter to the west. And as you're dipping into Argentina here, they haven't had a lot of rain and there's not much in the forecast. So heat getting down there is definitely not a good thing. Argentina harvest is underway. If you remember a few months ago when we were doing this, Argentina plants half of their crop early and the other half of it gets planted later. So this first half is what's being harvested right now. I saw reports somewhere in that 15 to 20%. I haven't heard much on yield talks. I think everything's kind of been as expected so far. But moving ahead here, last 2 weeks of rainfall. Have had some more rains here to the north. That's helping out that safrinha region. Last 2 weeks, I mentioned it, Mato Grosso do Sul and Paraná have not had enough rain to tide them by, especially when they've been a little bit warmer there to the south. So we really are going to have to watch that closely. And then Argentina as well, 2 to 3 inches over the last 2 weeks, which they've been crying for rain. I mean, they've been needing it. So it's putting a band-aid on it for now is what it's done.
Sure.
So moving ahead next 5 days, they're going to be drying right back out. Mato Grosso going to be getting some 1 to 1.5 inch rains. Everywhere else, pretty dry. So definitely worth keeping an eye on. I wouldn't say it's a super bullish thought process looking at South America right now, but it's not getting any more bearish, if you get what I mean there, Clint.
Sure.
And then 6 to 10 day, same thing, still more rains in the north. For a good chunk of that Safrinha corn is in Mato Grosso. So a lot of it is getting good rain, but there's also a large amount of crop that's still in the field here in these southern regions that are not getting what they need. So tale of two battles, especially in that Safrinha crop range now too. So gonna have to watch it pretty close. Going a little bit more in depth next week, temperatures to the north, Mato Grosso in the 80s. We've been here a long time. I'm not adding anything to that. And then the rainfall over the next week, illustrating that here, half of your Safrinha crop is in Mato Grosso for corn. So getting that 1 to 1.5 inch rain is a big deal. So,
Yeah, and that, like I mentioned before, I guess it's hard to be nice that, we should have some better visuals of what's going on down there, but like this could be a make it or break it rain, even though it's only an inch, inch and a half, but all that stuff that's planted and coming up, I mean, like I say, you don't get the stand, it's done after that. Doesn't matter what the rest of the season does.
exactly. So looking to the south, just to the south where we were looking, Mato Grosso, Sol, Paraná, they have a little bit more heat. Some areas that are in the 90s for an average over the next week, and regions in the mid to upper 80s as well. So that's where they've been for a while. That's not really a new thing getting added into the mix, but they don't have the rain that they need. Some regions of Mato Grosso, Sol getting 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. In this southern region where they're drier, it's not enough. So I'm going to have to listen for reports and analysts that are actually down in South America to see if there are some, I'll call it boo-hooing, but you know what I mean by that some complaints that the crops are having some big issues.
Yeah.
So definitely worth keeping an eye on. But in the meantime, first crop sounds like yields were solid, corn and beans. Most of that first crop corn is kept internally. So now the second crop is what would end up getting exported. And that's what we need to be watching close. And Argentina harvest still has a long way to go. So just watching and seeing what's happening there too. So that's all I got for you, Clint.
Roger that. Again, Clint McLaughlin, Riley Sidecard. Appreciate everybody tuning in here today. Thanks a lot and have a great day.
This material has been prepared by a sales or trading employee or agent of Midwest Market Management and is in the nature of a solicitation. This material is not a research report prepared by of Midwest Market Management Research Department. By accepting this communication, you agree that you are an experienced user of the futures markets, capable of making independent trading decisions, and agree that you are not and will not rely solely on this communication in making trading decisions. Distribution in some jurisdictions may be prohibited or restricted by law. Persons in possession of this communication indirectly should inform themselves about and observe any such prohibition or restrictions. To the extent that you have received this communication indirectly and solicitations are prohibited in your jurisdiction without registration, the market commentary in this communication should not be considered a solicitation. The risk of loss in trading futures and/or options is substantial, and each investor and/or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated by simulated historical tests of strategies, is not indicative of future results. Trading advice is based on information taken from trades and statistical services and other sources that of Midwest Market Management believes are reliable. We do not guarantee that such information is accurate or complete, and it should not be relied upon as such. Trading advice reflects our good faith judgment at a specific time and is subject to change without notice. There is no guarantee that the advice we give will result in profitable trades.